It has also organized effort to teach about how the natural environment functions and particularly how human beings can manage their behavior and ecosystem to live sustainably. That is uniquely and slightly different from environmental sciences and environmental studies. There are three different types of terms: environmental studies, environmental sciences, and environmental education. While the former is concerned with the identification, designing, collecting, analyzing, and interpreting the empirical data, the latter is concerned with using the analyze the interpreted data to create the needed awareness to obtain by the farmer. As we have discussed, until and unless the interpreted and the descriptive studies are not understandable, easy to understand for the community, it is impossible for the positive change in the attitude. What are the key components of the environmental education? Awareness and sensitivity. The second one is the attitude of the concern. And the third one is the skills to identify and help. These components are focused for bringing the positive change in knowledge, attitude, intentions, collectively the behavior of the community. Based on these three components, environmental education seeks to pursue increased public awareness and knowledge about the environmental issues, to teach the individuals and groups critical thinking, to identify the environmental issues, their causes, the effects they have on the environmental and the human beings. Mitigation strategies are what can be done to solve the identified problems. It enhances the individual's problem solving and the decision making skills. Hence, environmental education is holistic in nature because it does not advocate any particular viewpoint about the nature. Next, what is the impact or relationship between the environmental degradation, climatic change, and the individual gender roles and daily routine of the most of the rural households? They are influenced of the livelihood activities engaged in their daily routine. The burden of the food production from the rural agrarian activities as carried out by women has become even more pronounced in recent times, as their statutory roles are caregivers and mothers of the household. From the prehistoric times, women folks have been seen as mothers who are solely saddled with the duty of providing for the households. These roles are beginning to become compounded daily basis because of the increased burden inflicted on them by the changing climate conditions under which they carry out their daily livelihood activities in their agrarian rural societies. Scholars have suggested that both male and female are engaged in the agricultural production process at one point or the other. The men clear the thick forest land and bushlands and also proceed to till the mounds for planting of the food crops. Their activities end here, while the women take over from weeding the farms, tending the crops, till the crops are mature for harvesting. During the harvesting process, men do the actual harvesting for the some crops, while the women carry the harvested crops home, prepare them for the storage, and do actual storage themselves. Their duties do not stop here. They do the harvesting of the fuel food, including the cooking of the food for the family, washing and doing of the used dishes, fetching of water, bathing the younger ones. These are activities which are daily routine of the most of the rural women. Climate change is the effect which changing climatic conditions have brought on the environment and its resources to the extent that these effects have influenced so many human activities negatively. The causes of the climate change: incomplete combustion of the fossil fuels, gasoline from industrial chimneys, exhaust pipes, resulting in the release of the carbon dioxide and carbon monoxide, methane emission from the animal dung, agricultural chemicals, pesticides, waste garbage, Arctic seabeds and depleted ice fields. Deforestation, especially from the tropical wood for agriculture, pulp and the farmlands. Increased use of the agricultural chemicals, especially pesticides and other agrochemicals, bush burning among others. I skip the literature review and come on the research methodology. Using a cross-sectional survey method, because it is a descriptive study, so I have done it as a cross-sectional survey. A sample from the entire population of the study area of Bahawalpur district, Punjab was selected, who were predominantly farmers, civil servants, agricultural science teachers, civil educationists and the health workers. Using the multi-state sampling technique, a sample of the 100 respondents comprising both male and female were selected. The selection process was such that husbands and wives were selected from each compound in households where male and the female were widow. They were also paired for the study. In our gender disaggregated sample of the 50 pair were selected for the study. Following research questions were made. Question 1. To what extent of the climate change awareness do the rural families of the study area have? Question 2. What is the gender role analysis of the some daily routine activities carried out by these rural farmers? Question 3. What is the difference in the workload burden of the impacts of climate change between men and women? Question 4. What are the strategies adopted by these rural farmers to mitigate the effects of change in their agricultural activities? Last question was, what roles can environmental education play in helping the rural farmers to design, adopt sustainable adoption and mitigation strategies to reduce or completely eradicate the vulnerability to climate change effects? Structured research tool was a structured interview schedule. A structured question titled Extent to Climate Change Awareness and the Roles of Environmental Education in Climate Change Prevention, Mitigation and Adoption question. The second instrument was the gender roles analysis and the scheduled activity burden checklist. The instruments were personally administered by the researcher and visited with the study area. Descriptive statistics, percentages, independent t-tests were used to analyze and present results from the analysis. Regarding the knowledge research question number 1, what extent of the climate change awareness do the rural farmer of the study area have? There were 5 responses: very much, high, average, very minimal, and low. According to results, 11% were of the opinion they had very much information about the climate change from the environmental education. 18% of the respondents had high knowledge, and the average was 20%, while very minimal were 18% and low were of 33% of the total population. Substantial number of these farmers do not have any formal awareness about climate change. Concerned about the sources of climate change awareness among these rural farmers, it was discovered that some got the awareness through the radio, television, handbills and information bulletins. Other had through newspapers, news magazines, while some got information through public awareness created by some non-government organizations. Result is a confirmation of the studies conducted by Gadial, who in their study found that in most areas of the rural community, level of the climate change awareness, like every other environmental awareness, is dependent on the people's exposure to all programs of the activities geared toward creating awareness. In the second research question, that was what is the gender role analysis of the some daily routine activities carried out by these rural farmers. There are almost 28 daily routine activities, including the fetching of water, fetching of the fuel food, cooking of the food, carrying of the farms, tilling of the mounds, planting of the other crops, weeding of the farms, mulching, seeding of, stacking of the farm, tending of the farms, and bathing of the children, breastfeeding to the children by the mothers, taking care of the sick, compound sanitation, cooking, training of the children, carrying of the harvest crop to home, selling of the food crops in the markets, spending of the family money, collection of the children bride price, as well as taking family decisions. The results of the study is a confirmation of earliest finding of the Volatile Act and others. That the result found that using gender lens scope, women perform more activities in the agrarian communities as the men. Similarly, some positions have been convinced by the Katman Bhan that traditionally women are assigned the responsibilities of producing the children and also feeding the family. Outside working long hours in the field, they must come back to cook the family meals and also care for the children, such as bathing them, feeding them, and also making sure that men of the house have also been fed. Third question was, what is the difference in the workload burden of the impacts of climate change between men and women? The question sought to examine if there is any significant difference between men and women in the burden of the work schedule in rural communities as a result of the climate change effects on agriculture. The answer though to this question, men standard deviation, mean standard deviation and standard error of the mean work computed to identify if there are any differences in the workload burden between the men and women in agrarian society. The independent, simple sample test was applied to compare the groups between men and women, resulting as following. Here we can see that regarding the increased burden of the gender role in the rural community, regarding the men made mean was 27.5 and the standard deviation was 3.802 and the standard error was 0.680 and the mean difference was 2.56 and the peak value was 3.978. Female regarding 21.13, 3.689, 0.640 and 0.76. Significant value 0.50 level, critical value was 1.93 and p value of 0.05 and the degree of freedom was 99. From the table, it is depicted that associated compound p values that are mean difference between the men and women with a critical value of 1.3 and degree of freedom was 99. Result shows that mean p value which is greater than the critical value as calculated p value of the 3.968 greater than the critical value. So implication of the result is that during the period where climate change effects are mostly felt to mitigate the effects, there is significant increase in the burden of work done between women and men in this study area. Now the question, what the strategies are adopted by these rural farmers to mitigate the effects of climate change in their agricultural activities? There are 9 strategies. Planting of the crops after the onset of the rains, highly used 30%, often used 46%, rarely used 16%, not used 8%. Similarly, mulching of the mounds and the beds, planting of the cover crops, planting of the trees and hedgerows, watering of the farms, irrigation, use of organic farm manure, compost from the green vegetables for the manure instead of inorganic fertilizer, clearing of the perimeter around the farmlands to reduce the bushfire, clearing of the farmland and allowing the grasses to decay instead of the burning, and channeling water flow in the farmland. There are results show that findings show that there is some level of the climate change awareness among the rural farmers of the study area. This has also influenced their perception of climate change is affecting their agricultural productivities. But the introduction and practice of these strategies, some repurposing had come to the way of these rural farmers. Now, what is the role of environmental education play in helping rural farmers to design, adopt sustainable adoption, mitigation strategies to reduce or completely eradicate their vulnerability to climate change? Creating environmental awareness helps social groups and individuals acquire awareness. Similarly, it helps social groups and individuals to gain the variety of the knowledge and experiences from their basic understanding. Attitude helps individual and social groups for critical thinking, decision making, and skills needed to help the social groups. Participation in the social groups and awareness activities were also helpful. There should be a occasional climate change awareness campaign and training for these rural farmers to improve their mitigation and the adoption strategies. This is the first recommendation. As the burden of the workload for the women will increase more than those of men, men should assess the best way they can to ameliorate the burden of the workload of the women. Environmental education, both formal and non-formal, including environmental adult education, should be introduced and used to teach the social groups the strategies that best suit to the local conditions for the climate change mitigation. Grants should be given to the local farmers to enable them to buy the high-yielding crops species. Farmers should be encouraged to form cooperative societies where they can share their knowledge and help with one another. Government should manipulate the policies to safeguard the food security by providing the water scheme for the poor farmer. Thank you. Any question?
Thank you very much, Rasa. It was a wonderful, informative talk from your side. I'm hopeful that it will help the audience in their daily routine. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Now I would like to call Mr. Umar Farooq. He has been waiting since like yesterday. So, Mr. Umar Farooq, please come and say.
I have a request to Mr. Umar Farooq to please conclude the session. Your talk in 10 to 12 minutes as we'll have a closing ceremony at 12:30.
After that, we have an international speaker who will do some end-time private join us today here. So we have his recorded talks. After that, we will play that. Thank you.
In the name of Allah, the most beneficent and the most merciful, I am here to discuss the topic runoff estimation using GHMS case study in the upper Indus basin. My presentation consists of 4 parts: introduction, methodology, result, and conclusion. In introduction, we see the runoff factors affecting runoff, need of hydrological model, and research objectives as well. Runoff is nothing just more than the water running off the land surface. Runoff is defined as the rainfall remaining after all the hydrological affections have been subtracted. Runoff can be generated either by rainfall, snow, melting of snow or glaciers. It will depend on many factors like climatic factors, physiographical factors. In climatic factors,